Ever feel like you can disappear without even leaving the room? That was me. Every forced smile, every polite laugh, every
Yeah, no worries.
was another little piece of me gone. And the world seemed to love that version. The super animated, capable, got it all together, Chris. Until I just stopped. Not entirely by choice. Couldn't move, couldn't talk, couldn't keep the act going. It got so bad that some days my wife didn't want to leave me alone because she was so worried about my mental health. That's what happens when masking turns into autistic burnout. I didn't see it coming, but maybe you'll recognize it earlier after hearing this. Part 1, my masking legacy. When I was a kid, I didn't know I was autistic with ADHD. I was told lots of things like, you're too loud. But to me, the world was really loud. You're asking too many questions. Stop moving around so much. Be more social like the other kids. You have to fit in. Try harder. So I tried harder. I still didn't like noises, especially the quiet ones that bothered me but no one else noticed. Or sudden changes, making eye contact, the seams of my socks pressing into my toes, leaving tasks unfinished all day at school, or how other kids responded when I tried to be friends with them. But I learned not to say anything about it all. Instead, I created rules for myself, set guidelines that I could stick to in my head, like how to tone down what I said so people didn't cry or get upset, when to laugh, what set phrases to use at what times, how to be the funny guy, because half the time, I didn't even know what was going on, but learned to play it off with humor. And I still don't know what's going on most of the time. By the time I was an adult, masking was invisible to me. It felt natural, like breathing, a nod here, I'm fine, how are you, there, and hiding the constant discomfort that never went away. In social settings, I'd seem to have it all together, but my real brain locked in the back seat. And I'd be exhausted a lot, but I'd still have enough energy because I was younger. And I thought all of this was normal. Rehearsing every sentence, needing quiet recovery time regularly, hiding every urge to rock or sway or stim.
I didn't even know what stimming was back then.
As I got older, everyone got used to this being me, but bits of me were disappearing, little by little, and life was getting harder the longer this went on. What masking does to the nervous system. Before I tell you my autistic burnout story, which, fair warning, gets pretty dark, I want to explain what masking actually does to you if you're autistic. It isn't just about pretending to fit in. Your brain and body work overtime when you spend your entire life doing it. Masking is when you're not being true to your autistic self, or you're constantly trying to navigate a world that isn't built for your brain, and you're trying to hide that struggle. And if you're a late identified autistic adult, that probably wasn't a choice. It was training, being told to change earlier in life. You learned early on that being your real self wasn't okay, so your brain built a survival system. But that system comes at a cost. Masking is invisible labor, constantly making sure the mask doesn't slip, editing every reaction, performing, hiding natural autistic urges like stimming, forcing unnatural social norms like small talk or eye contact. It's your nervous system stuck in high alert mode, scanning, adjusting, blending in, until one day, you just can't do it anymore. And that's where my story starts. The big reveal. It wasn't one big crash that made me realize I was an autistic burnout. It was a slow, quiet collapse spread over years. At first, it looked like normal stress. I wasn't sleeping well. I'd wake up feeling like my head was in a vice, this crushing pressure that never really went away. Then my body started to revolt. My stomach went crazy. Lots of trips to the bathroom and the doctor. It didn't take long until I was worried and anxious just leaving the house because I never knew when I'd suddenly get sick. I was coughing, throwing up, and sudden pangs sending me to the nearest bathroom. And then my skin started breaking down. Sores, rashes, peeling. I'd get these splotches and blotches around my forehead and nose that stung. My whole body was short-circuiting and rebelling. I was kind of an emotional basket case too. I was irritable all the time, snapping at tiny changes or sudden noises. I was having meltdowns and locking myself in the bathroom just to keep from breaking things. And I'd feel guilty about all of this. But how do you explain to people that you don't even know why you're so unhinged all the time? That everything just felt wrong and always overwhelming. I tried everything I was supposed to. Journaling, therapy, exercise, all the self-improvement routines. But nothing worked. Sometimes I'd sit in the shower where no one could see me for an hour, just crying. The water was cold, but I stayed in there and tried to figure it out. My body was done. My brain was constantly overloaded, and I didn't understand why. Why was life so difficult and only for me? Well, here's a news flash. A lot of autistic adults, especially those with co-occurring ADHD, didn't know we were autistic. It's not just me. Research shows that autistic burnout is a huge reason why a lot of us end up finally figuring out we're autistic, decades late. And part of that is because many autistic adults like me, we can do a lot, and we don't know we're masking. Before all this burnout stuff, I'd been unstoppable. I ran and did boxing, met up with friends, built a company, traveled the world. I pushed through everything. That's what I'd always done. But this time, pushing made it worse. My back would give out and I'd be stuck in bed for days. I could barely lift my head sometimes from all the muscle tension. My brain started dropping words, simple ones. I'd forget what I was saying mid-sentence. Constant brain fog. Every week, something else broke down. My focus, my body, my ability to cook, to work, to leave the apartment. Even the quiet got loud. I started noticing sounds that didn't exist before. The hum of the fridge, the rattle of the AC, distant whistles that made my whole body tense. It was like my brain had lost its filter. And then one day, it just stopped. I couldn't speak. My brain shut down completely. I panicked and locked myself in the bathroom crying. Couldn't think, felt itchy like I needed to crawl out of my skin. Had a huge meltdown, then exhausted for days. That was the final straw. And not long after, I finally got the missing piece. I was autistic. Looking back now, I can see it clearly. My nervous system had been running on emergency power for years and constantly pretending to be okay in overstimulated environments, performing and trying to fly under the radar. All that autistic masking had drained me dry. How I began recovery. Masking causes burnout. Years of hiding, constantly pretending, chronically pushing through until you cracked. If you recognize parts of this in you, just know you aren't failing. You've been trying your best in a world that wasn't built for your wiring. And for me, recovery didn't start with a big leap. It started with noticing, making meaningful adjustments. And it's slow at first. You can't erase years of masking and cycles of burnout overnight, but you can chip away at it bit by bit with small impactful changes. We've got an entire video on that coming, so hit the subscribe button and the bell to know when it's here. If this sounds like you, jump into our free Is This Autistic Burnout mini course, links in the description. If you're ready for the full roadmap, our burnout recovery course and Auticate membership can help you completely transform your life. So drop a comment if this landed. Share your moment when masking felt like too much. We're in this to learn and grow together. The real healing starts when you stop masking so hard. And keep watching for more on how to support your unique brain.